A man who knows more about Bitcoin and AI and just about everything else.
U.S. President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday that establishes a government reserve of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. In the order, it is stated that the U.S. government will retain the estimated 200,000 Bitcoin that it already seized in civil as well as criminal proceedings. The crypto czar, David Sachs, said this on social media: "The U.S. will not sell any Bitcoin deposited into the reserve. It will be kept as a store of value. The reserve is like a digital Fort Knox for the cryptocurrency, often called digital gold." Ukrainian President Zelensky attended an emergency summit in Brussels with European leaders amid the war with Russia, as well as newfound tension with the United States due to the U.S. pausing military aid and intelligence sharing. This comes after a heated meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Zelensky at the Oval Office. Now, Zelensky has proposed a truce with Russia to halt the use of long-range strikes on civilian infrastructure and military operations in the Black Sea, with Europeans rallying to the defense of Ukraine. What is next for Ukraine?
They've been in the news lately, haven't they?
U.S. President Trump has postponed the 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for a month, as this has led to growing concern of a trade war. Trump noted that,
"Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies, that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along." While
the proposed tariffs are about stopping the smuggling of fentanyl, the stock market has taken a hit, and Canada is ready with countermeasures. How do you think this will go? Nvidia's stock tanked today, down almost 5% in pre-market alone. Are these just market jitters, or is there something bigger at play? The market is divided, with some analysts calling it a natural correction, citing a strong market and demand for AI technology. Others are claiming this is the work of President Trump and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. The department has been aggressively cutting federal budgets, including technology and research funding. Investors believe this is going to destroy revenue and significantly impact companies reliant on government partnerships, adding security concerns and talks of export controls on chips to China. Some analysts have remained optimistic, citing a strong market demand for AI technology and vast global competition. Is this just a temporary drop, or is the tech market in trouble? President Trump and Elon Musk are targeting federal workers today with an email sent to all early Saturday morning that reads, "Please reply to this email with 5 things you accomplished last week," outlining a 24-hour Monday deadline. National security agencies and federal departments, including the FBI, advise staffers not to respond immediately to the email, directly contradicting Musk's resignation promises on X. Would you respond? Donald Trump announced new plans for the EPA to cut 65% of its workforce. Nearly 400 probationary employees have been terminated so far, as the Trump administration announces massive layoffs within the federal government. News of the 65% downside surprised agency staff, with union leadership denying any knowledge of the plan. Will this move have consequences on the environment? Donald Trump is making headlines again, this time with a proposal that's sending shockwaves across the world. He's suggesting that the U.S. should take control of Gaza, claiming it could be turned into a luxurious tourist destination, the Riviera of the Middle East. The United Nations has warned this could violate international law, and leaders from Egypt and Jordan have outright rejected the idea. Critics argue that the plan ignores Palestinian sovereignty and could escalate tensions even further. So is this just more Trump rhetoric, or could it actually happen? President Trump has officially closed the U.S.-Mexico border. This action follows an executive order suspending the entry of migrants, sparking debates over its impact on trade and relations. Supporters argue that it's a matter of national security, following 7.8 million illegal border crossings under the Biden administration. What impact do you think this will have? U.S. President Trump's administration and Ukraine are planning to sign a minerals deal that was supposed to take place during the heated Oval Office meeting between Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky on Friday.
"I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems."
According to 3 sources, Trump has mentioned to advisors that he wishes to announce the agreement on Tuesday evening during his address to Congress. As of now, the deal is yet to be signed, as the White House and the presidential administration of Ukraine have not immediately responded to requests for comment on the situation. Zelensky said this on X: "Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. The deal would give the United States access to revenue from Ukraine's natural resources, with the Ukrainian government contributing half of future monetization of state-owned natural resources to a reconstruction investment fund supported by both countries." Former senior White House official and ambassador to Poland, Daniel Fried, noted this regarding the deal: "Trump can and should take the win. He'd be able to say that he got the Europeans to stand up in front of an issue of European security, which they've never done before." Do you think the deal will be signed?
That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. Then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I want this.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today,
have you said thank you? Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks. People are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough.
We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
You bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
We're going to feel very good. We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You and the president who's trying to save your country.
Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
answer? Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. This thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred.
The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy.
You're right now not in a very good position.
What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
During 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Except that you should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
President Trump has threatened undocumented immigrants today, promising jail time and fines to migrants that fail to sign up for a new DHS registry. The new directive requires migrants to submit fingerprints and register with the federal government. The Trump administration has moved aggressively to enact policies placing migrants at higher risk of deportation. What do you think about this? Federal employees have taken legal action against Elon Musk following a controversial directive mandating federal workers to detail weekly accomplishments or be fired. The lawsuit claims the instruction violates labor laws and creates a hostile work environment, while White House supporters claim it's necessary to reducing unnecessary government spending. Is there a line between promoting efficiency and undermining employee rights? A second federal judge just paused Trump's executive order banning federal funds allocated for gender-affirming care to kids. Trans advocates are hailing it as a major victory, while conservatives label it judicial overreach. With tensions boiling, all eyes are on the Supreme Court. Will the ban survive or crumble? Is Trump taking over USPS? In recent announcements, the president has proposed firing the Postal Service Board, loudly criticizing its $9 billion deficit last year. Those on the board held an emergency meeting following the Senate confirmation of Howard Lutnick as the Commerce Secretary on Wednesday. A significant move could leave many Americans without meds, checks, and even ballots. While there are no executive orders in the works targeting USPS, according to two White House officials, there have been discussions on ways to make it more efficient. What do you think will happen to the Postal Service?
Is Donald Trump about to send Americans more money? The president just confirmed he's considering allocating 20% of the savings from the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, up to $5,000 per household, back into the pockets of taxpaying Americans. The agency, created by Trump and Elon Musk, is cracking down on wasteful government spending, and now the public is asking where the savings should go. The idea started when X users suggested that some of the recovered funds should go back to taxpayers, with Elon Musk replying he'd check with the president. So, what do you think? Over the Ukrainian war, representatives from Europe and Ukraine have not been invited to participate, sparking outcry from President Zelensky, stating no decisions will be made about Ukraine's future without its involvement. The peace negotiations follow the recent phone call between the president and Vladimir Putin, signifying a notable shift in U.S. foreign policy under the Trump administration. Who is really pulling the strings here?
In a dramatic turn of events, Hamas has announced it will release its hostages and recommit to the ceasefire agreement. This comes after President Donald Trump stated he would let hell break out if Hamas didn't return the hostages by noon Saturday. Netanyahu promised to amass forces in and around Gaza if the original agreement wasn't upheld. Hamas threatened to halt the transfer after new accusations of IDF militants shooting civilians, blocking humanitarian aid, and prohibiting passage into northern Gaza. Negotiators are finalizing the second phase of the Stage 3 agreement. Do you think Donald Trump's threats worked? Around 75,000 federal employees accepted Donald Trump's buyout offer after the deadline ended on February 12th. Introduced by Elon Musk's new Department of Government Efficiency, the plan promises 8 months of pay and benefits in exchange for immediate resignation. Workers who choose to stay will be required to return to work in person and embrace new performance standards. The final figures come after a federal judge lifted a pause on the program. Official figures fell short of the projected 5 to 10% acceptance rate at just a mere 3% of federal workers. The Trump administration has warned that furloughs and layoffs are likely as large-scale reductions in force take place. In early February 2025, President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on all imports from Canada, citing national security concerns and the need to curb illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Canada responded with equivalent tariffs on U.S. goods, escalating tensions between the two nations. After negotiations, both countries agreed to a 1-month delay in implementing these tariffs, with Canada pledging to increase efforts to combat drug trafficking and enhance border security. Is Iran going to take out Trump? Donald Trump just sent a stark warning to Iran. If they assassinate him, there will be massive retaliation. Reports claim Iranian operatives have been planning an attack, and Trump isn't taking it lightly. He's made it clear that any move against him would trigger a devastating response. Some experts say this could be a bluff, while others believe it's a serious message to Tehran. With tensions between the US and Iran already at a boiling point, could this escalate into something bigger?
Donald Trump has issued a direct warning to Hamas. Release all hostages by noon on Saturday or face the full consequences. The ultimatum follows the delayed release of hostages amidst accusations of breaking the recent ceasefire. Calling their treatment horrific and inhumane, Trump has suggested that if the deadline isn't met, any further negotiations would end and he would let hell break out. When asked what he meant by his statement, he replied that Hamas will find out what I mean. Will Hamas comply, or will the region spiral further into conflict? The penny, too small to buy anything and too expensive to keep making. With production costs more than doubling in the last 3 years, President Trump has ordered an end to what experts believe is losing Americans over $170 million annually. Now that production is halted, cash transactions will soon be rounded to the nearest nickel. Some say this is a good change, but others proclaim that it's the end of an era. Do you believe it's a good idea?